are now listening to the Pelicans post-game report. Flash report.
For all things Pelicans, you're now tuned into the Pelican post-game report, Flash report. Much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the live. Please do me a service by hitting upon the like button, the sub button, and the notification bell as well to get updates and future content from PPR representing the Flock and Nation. We up in this thing. Of course, we're getting closer and closer to the draft time, fam. Pelicans doing some stuff. We know about the fact that the Pelicans were ultimately hosting potential players. Cedric Coward was one they looked at, as long as Con Newpel. These are really good players. Newpel is seen as one of the best, if not the best shooter in this upcoming draft. Second team all ACC selection, 14 and almost 14 and a half points a game, 4 boards, 3 assists in 39 games. Guy almost shooting 41% from downtown, and just a hell of a shooter last year. So anyway, he's a guy that the Pelicans are obviously looking at. We knew that this is somebody Pelicans ultimately are trying to kind of gauge, having a wing. The Pelicans, even though we known, and we covered this in the previous Flash report, is the fact that the Pelicans were ultimately looking at attempting and putting the word out that they are interested in moving up into the draft to the third spot, or an attempt to land Rutgers top player, one of their top players from Rutgers, Ace Bailey, and have him the pair in the Pelicans. But rumors as well, if you want to move up, going to take assets to move, whether that's draft pick and player personnel. Zion Williamson, obviously, from Joe Dumars, is off the table. So is Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Yves Missi, or based on what we're hearing, those guys are off the table. So CJ McCollum and others could, are definitely are there to be looked at. So anyway, as we kind of move into this draft, man, it'll be interesting as the Pelicans need help in different areas. But like I said, these are some of the players the Pelicans looking at. We talked about Ace Bailey, what he was able to do, 6'9", forward out of Rutgers, averaged almost 18 points a game on 34.6% shooting from downtown, 7 rebounds, and almost a block and a half on what he does here in terms of his upside. A lot of people think that Ace will be gone by the third pick, so the Pelicans, if they want it, they're going to have to give up access to go and get him. Also, there's other trade circulation information around guys like Kamen from out of Duke, another big rim protector who Pelicans are seen as possibly being a guy to kind of bring in to kind of help out as they want to add bigs to what they got going on. He's a guy that averaged almost 9 points a game, 6 rebounds, and almost a block and a half from his side of things. 7'2", 253-pounder would definitely add instant rim protection for the Pelicans, whose defense was severely lacking in this area. And of course, we did talk about Con Newpel, who is just a hell of a shooter. That can be one of the guys there. So a lot of the talk is if the Pelicans remain at the 7 position, they're not able to trade up to 3, that this could be somebody that the Pelicans reach at to add more shooting around Zion Williamson as well. And then, of course, originally, a lot of people say, what is the most pure need that the Pels have? And we'll look at a breakdown of the Pelicans team so we can get a clearer idea of what we think we need in terms of whether it's a point guard. Jeremiah Fears is a guy out of Oklahoma. Some see him as the best point guard in this draft. He averaged over 7 points a game, but just 3-point shooting, 28% from downtown. It's not very impressive, but he had a 56% shooting, field goal percentage shooting, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. A lot of people like his game. A very athletic player, but a lot of people kind of see him as a guy needs some more facilitation ability. If you watch tape on Jeremiah Fears, there's nothing scary or nothing fearful about this kid game. He got a good game to him, and it's very interesting. But like I said, when we take a look at the Pelicans, it's going to get very interesting to say the least. This is kind of a boil down of what the schedule looks like, or rather the depth chart for the Pelicans. You can see DeJounte Murray, 24.7 miles, with $25 million 4-year deal. He's an undrafted free agent in 28. Jose Alvarado just under $2 million, 2 years, a team option there. Elfrid Payton is a good team. The Pelicans picked up Elfrid Payton. He'll be a free agent in 2026. Bringing him into the team. Murray, Alvarado, and Payton are your point guards right there. But you won't get DeJounte Murray until way later into the year. So could Jose and Elfrid be the guys you're looking at? That's why a lot of people are saying Pelicans should take the step with the point guard. And ultimately, when the time comes, he could be a guy that you bring in to kind of help you there. And it's kind of a futuristic pick, near future pick. And of course, you see CJ McCollum, who has 1 year left on his deal for the Pelicans after this season. The 25, he'll have the chip. If anybody is the most tradable asset insofar as a 1 year contract with 33.3, whatever it is, million, gets ready to fall off the books after this season. Hey, man, listen, this could be an interesting pick. Of course, Jordan Hawkins is there at 4.5. Bruce Brown is an unrestricted free agent this year. And a lot of people anticipate Bruce Brown being a sign and trade in which the Pelicans get something back for his services. Brandon Boston is here. Lester Quinones, who is a good young player for us with upside. Antonio Reeves showed a lot of really good shooting. He's very interesting in if can we develop him into something and give him some meaningful minutes. Trey Murphy is considered the second best player on the team, pairing with Zion Williamson. Herb Jones is here as well with 12.9. He's contract is up to 2027. A lot of rumorville around people wanting Herb Jones. The Pelicans are holding on to him, and of course, two-way contracts of Keon Brooks, Jamal Cain, who are restricted guys this upcoming season. And of course, we know about Zion's 5 years. In 2028, his contract is up 36.7. Kelly Olynyk has a year left on his deal. Jeremiah Robinson Earl is unrestricted this year. Karlo Mekovic is restricted in 2027. And of course, we know Yves Misi was last year's first round draft pick. So what is the idea here? So Pelicans hold the 7th overall pick in the 2025 draft. They're reportedly open to using this pick to either add a talented prospect or potentially trade for a proven player. Potential trade targets: Ace Bailey. Some mock drafts suggest Pelicans could trade up to acquire Ace Bailey, a forward with star potential if they can't land flag, which they won't. Kyle Newpel from Duke is known for his sharp shooting and high basketball IQ. He could add floor spacing to play alongside Herb and Trey Murphy. And other potential targets, the Pelicans also linked to guard Igor Denham and Jeremiah Fears. It might be considered a wild card pick. Now, possible trade scenarios: the Pelicans could potentially trade the 7th pick, possibly involving a player like Herb, which that was shut down. We'll keep an eye on it. According to what we know, Herb Jones is on the untouchable list. Trading for a superstar with a favorable cap situation and assets, the Pelicans could look to package the 7th pick with other players like DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, and draft capital to acquire a superstar. I don't know if Murray could be one of those guys. They trade, like I said, he's hurt right now and will not be healthy until probably half of the year. We probably won't see DeJounte Murray until 2020, the start of it, right? Hopefully a little sooner, but probably not. Of course, the overall needs here: improvement on the injury luck. The Pelicans have faced significant injury issues with key players like Zion, DeJounte Murray, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, name it. We need a better thought process and staff in terms of that goes. Long-term point guard solution. Pelicans could target a lead guard in the draft, especially if they're looking for a potential franchise cornerstone. This is a possibility. We know DeJounte Murray is here. He's hurt. Jose Alvarado is not a future point guard for the Pelicans, more of a reserve guy, most certainly not Elfrid Payton. So commonsensically would say, yeah, a future point guard, but is Jeremiah Fears that guy, right? Is he the man that you want to kind of have that situation set up? Of course, additional shooting, adding the floor space and in consideration to players like Kyle Newpel could help. Having another shooter always help. Shooter. Trey Murphy, Jordan Hawkins. Herb learned how to shoot that 3-pointer consistently. Kyle Newpel's there, having shooting could never hurt. And reinforcement depth, filling out the roster with affordable free agents or adding players through the draft is a possibility, particularly to address any potential roster departures. And having a deep roster is what we often talked about with the Pelicans, could absorb the injuries, but in the end, we also have intelligence overall at the top of the team to guide the team forward. And since Joe Dumars did say that Willie Green, will be the guy, a lot of people are skeptical, to say the least, about how the Pelicans will look going into 2025 to 2026. We did hear about the Desmond Bane trade, him going to Orlando, as the Grizzlies are trying to reshape and do something here. There's rumors about Ja Morant being on trade block. We don't know. We know Kevin Durant is looking for a place. It's not the Pelicans. And other players, Kuminga and all these other guys. I don't think the Pelicans will be involved in that, but we'll see how things move going forward. Interesting to see what Joe Dumars plans that he has for the Pelicans, man. So we'll be looking, we'll be watching, and we'll be waiting. So with that being said, fam, listen, that'll be it in the Pelican Post Game Report. Please do me a service. Hit the like button, sub up if you're not a sub. Feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Don't matter where you socialize, take the Pelican post-game report with you. PPR representing the Flocking Nation. 10 toes down, we in the building. I'm Big Q. I'm going to holler at y'all on the next one. Much love. Go Pels. Peace.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans Pelicans.